Yo, YouTube, what is going on? It's your boy, CDL, and we are back with another video, guys. And today, there's no webcam, but we are going through the beginning where every pro got their start in professional or in competitive Call of Duty, where they debuted for the first time at a LAN event, and we're gonna go one by one to kind of give you good context of where these guys began, and I'll be throwing it on a timeline at the bottom of the screen while we're watching some gameplay from Cold War. So without further ado, guys, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get right into it. Let's go. So here we go. All of the current Call of Duty pros, including some substitutes as well, will be put on the timeline for when they first appeared at a LAN event. And I was trying to make sure that there were like pro players at these LAN events when they debuted, so they weren't just debuting at some local. So we were basically going off of like their pro, MLG, UMG, legitimate LAN debuts as their dates. So let's finally get going on this timeline. So obviously a lot of these pros have been around for a long time, but there are actually two that outlast them all. And I think you might be a little bit surprised about who that is. Of course, I think many of you know that Crimsix started his career in Call of Duty 4 and had his first LAN back in November of 2009. But there's also another player in that tournament that's still playing today, and that's Silly, also debuting at that same MLG National Championship event in COD 4. Crimsix is 27 years old, Silly is 25 years old, and they date back all the way to 2009. Obviously, Crimsix then took a little bit of time off before making his comeback a few years later. So after Silly and Crim, there was actually a little bit of time, almost a whole year, before two more of the current players would debut, including one player who, you know, you could debate whether or not he's current, but I wanted to keep him in this list. Clayster, of course, debuted in November of 2010 in Modern Warfare 2 at the MLG National Championship. He finished top 6 at the event, a pretty good showing, but there was actually another guy, another legend in the Call of Duty scene who also debuted at that time. In November of 2010, the nemesis of OpTic Gaming, Aches, made his debut in MW2 for Leverage with TP at the time as well, and they finished top 2 in that event. So now after 2 years, we have 4 pros who have made their debut, but we are just getting started. Up next, another legend in the Call of Duty scene gets his debut in April of 2011 in Black Ops 1 at MLG Dallas, teaming with Aches and TP. The king of COD, Scump, makes his debut and makes a big time debut as they came in and won the event. Scump's now 25 years old, but he made a fantastic debut back in 2011, and he's kept it up to this day. Similarly, only a few months later, 2 more players in the same tournament made their debut in Black Ops 1. That's Saints and Apathy. Saints finishing top 7 at MLG Columbus in 2011. Black Ops 1. Apathy finishing top 12. Apathy is currently 26, Saints is 25. That's where they got their starts. Last but certainly not least to debut in Black Ops 1 is one of the winningest players in COD history as well, Slacked. Currently still only 23, but at the MLG National Championship in November of 2011, Slacked made his debut finishing top 7, and one of his teammates was Mochilla at that event. So, heading now into Black Ops 2, a handful of players that are currently playing made their debut in this year. The first of them all to debut was Methods. At the time, very young, but he made his debut at UMG Chicago at the end of December 2012 in Black Ops 2, and he finished top 6 at the event with Soar to make a pretty good debut for Methods to start his career. For now, it's just stud after stud on the list. In March of 2013 at the MLG Winter National Championships, Enable made his debut. He's currently 26 years old, but at the time in 2014, he teamed with Flame Sword and Snakebite at the event, only finished top 44 at the event, but that was where he first made his LAN debut. And just about a month later, another beast, one of the best ARs in all of Call of Duty right now, Octane, made his debut at UMG St. Louis. He played with just a few of his friends, didn't place that well, but it got him going into competitive COD. Now at the age of 23, he's still dominating in the Call of Duty League and absolutely one of the best players in the game. Up next, another 23-year-old. This guy, one of the most popular players in the scene still today. He made his debut alongside 2 more COD legends at the time at the MLG Spring Championship. Attach made his debut, finishing top 36 at the MLG Spring Championship. Similarly, Slasher made his debut playing with Ignite, playing with Miyagi on that team, finishing top 24, and Slasher's currently 26. And now 27 years old, Looney also made his debut at the MLG Spring Championship, finishing top 16, playing with Pac-Man at that event as well. So that wraps up Black Ops 2's debuts. Let's head into Ghosts. And there's a trio of players to debut in Ghosts off the rip in November of 2013. A legend in the Call of Duty scene, a 25-year-old now, part of the Huntsmen and T2P formal debuts at MLG Fall Championships, finishing top 24, playing with Enable, Snakebite, and Ace, Halo guys, in his debut in Call of Duty. Up next, a little bit of a surprise. Hollow made his debut in Ghosts at the same event. He's currently 22 years old, so that was 7 years ago, as a 15-year-old making his debut in Call of Duty, and he finished top 16 at the event. Up next, another established Call of Duty pro for a long time now, Classic, currently 26 years old, also made his debut at the MLG Fall Championships, but this time he was playing with FaZe. Finished top 24 though, not a good finish for him, and was playing with Crowder and Spacely on that team. So that's where he got his start, and then another 3 players a few months later made their debut at the infamous UMG Philadelphia, where Big Timer retired, Scump left OpTic, a whole bunch went down to that event, but Zuma, Accuracy, and TJ Halley all made their debuts at the time. Zuma, 25 years old, made his debut, finishing top 12, making his debut and teaming with Tej at the event. Tej, 21 years old, and a top 12 finish for them was very, very respectable. And then Accuracy, like I said, 24 years old now, made his debut, finishing top 16 with Sender on that team as well. So at the end of March, 2 Aussies made their debut in the Call of Duty scene, Shox and Dens at COD Champs in March of 2014. They weren't actually teaming together though, as 2 teams of Aussies qualified for Champs. Buzzo was teaming with Shock, Damage was teaming with Dens. Shox and Buzzo finished top 16, but Dens and Damage, their squad actually made a run, finishing 5th at that event. A fantastic debut for Dens as a player in Ghost. So the last 2 players here at 2 different events though. Hook made his debut as a 15-year-old in competitive Call of Duty at UGC Niagara, finishing top 24, and God RX, currently 22, so at the time 16, making his debut at MLG Season 3 play-ins with Team Sinister, finishing top 24. So a lot of well-established players made their debuts before or during Ghosts, and we have a lot more players to continue to go through here. So heading into Advanced Warfare, Bance made his debut in November of 2014. He's currently 23 years old. He made that at a European LAN, Insomnia 53, finished top 24, so nothing crazy there, but at the same time, that's where he got his start. Aqua, next up, currently 24 years old, and in December of 2014, he made his debut at UMG Orlando, finishing top 16, teaming with Saint at the time as well. A 21-year-old Construction Shani made his debut in February of 2015 at the AM2 Pro 1, a LAN in Europe, finished top 12, which was unfortunately last at that event, but there were a lot of pro teams at the event, and that's where he was first seen. Another COD champion here made his debut in March of 2015, Assault, currently 24 years old, debuted at the COD Champs Regional Final with Team Below Zero, finishing top 14 at the event. 2 months later, a trio of players made their debut at UMG California. Temp, Priestahh, and Havoc all came out to play in May of 2015. Temp played with Elevate. He's currently 21 years old. Finished top 6 at the event with Classic, Tej, and Crowder. Priestahh, now 22 years old, made his debut finishing top 20. And Havoc, 22 years old, made his debut top 12, playing with Llama God, Silly, and Dido. So he had a solid squad as well at UMG California. Up next, another staple of the current Huntsmen team, we've got Envoy making his debut in June of 2015 at the MLG Pro League, finishing top 16 with Simple, Cells, and a player named Pickles. At the time, he was just 15, making his debut in competitive Call of Duty, having a pretty solid top 16 performance. Similarly, Proto made his debut in the same day. He's currently 22, and he finished top 16 as well with General, M. Ruiz, and Hauler. on that squad. Then a week later, Zed made his first LAN appearance, currently 23 years old, at the EGO Championship qualifiers in Europe. He finished 4th, which is a fantastic finish. Shawnee, Z, and Carbines were his teammates at that event. Zero is the next up a week after Zed making his debut in AW at the AM2 Pro Omnia event, finishing top 8. And then the final AW player only 1 week after Zero, Kenny, aka Quavo, made his debut in AW at UMG Dallas, finishing top 12 with Nelson, Assault, and Wolf. A really, really good finish for him in his debut, heading in to a new year in Black Ops 3. So in BO3, we had 5 players make their debuts throughout the year. The first 2 to do it were on the same day in February at UMG South Carolina. Gunless and Pander, both 22 years old, made their debuts in 2016. They both finished top 16. Gunless was playing with Panda Gaming, Juju, Pemby, and Human Jesus, and Pander was notably playing with Holler at that event. So now into March, we had another European debut. One of the twins, Scraps, made his debut at the EGL Open in London, finishing top 6, and he's currently 23 years old. Then the last 2 to make their debuts in Black Ops 3, another pair of twins, Arcides and Pristini, made their debut at MLG Orlando in August of 2016. They finished top 12, teaming with Destiny and Stuffy, which top 12 at that point was a really good turnout for them in that event. They immediately made an impact on the scene heading into IW. So in IW, we actually only had 3 players make their debuts throughout the year that are currently playing today. Wuskin was the first of them to do so at the age of 23 now. He made his debut in February of 2017 at CWL Atlanta with Team Fnatic, teaming with his twin, Scraps, and teaming with Tommy and Sunny B, finishing top 16, which is a really good performance for them at a CWL tournament in Atlanta. At your LAN debut playing in a North American tournament, that's a really, really solid finish. And then in June, the other 2 players made their debuts a week apart. At CWL Anaheim on Straight Rippin', finishing top 20, teaming with Study, Ricky, and Sinful, Dashy made his debut. He's currently 21 years old, but in June of 2017, he first played at a LAN event. And then 1 week later, another European phenom, Alex, made his debut at the CWL Sheffield Open, teaming with Team Era, Quicker, Nile, and Delio, finishing top 6 at the Sheffield Open. So now heading into World War II, 44 of the 66 have already made their debuts, but a handful of fantastic players make their debuts at CWL Dallas, the first event of COD World War II. First up, Abizi finally made his long-awaited appearance at a LAN event. They only finished top 64 though, so not the finish they would love to see, but he teamed with Reader, Vexed, and Tupac Thuglord in that event. Pharaoh as well made his debut, now 21 years old, at CWL Dallas, finishing top 12 with Parasite, Study, and another player on this list, Blast, who made his anticipated debut at this event as well with a top 12 finish. But 3 more players also made their debuts at CWL Dallas, including Decimate, who made his debut with E6, also finishing top 12, teaming with General, Dashy, and Bevels at the time. And then finishing top 40, Major Maniac also made his first LAN appearance at this event, teaming with Teddy Rex, Ramby, and Mutex. And finally at CWL Dallas, Skies debuted, currently 21 years old, finished top 40 as well as Major Maniac did, teaming with M-Shake, Hate, and Animal in his first tournament. So 3 more players debuted in World War II. The next of them was Kismet at CWL Atlanta, placing top 32, teaming with Zinx, Neode, and Rain in March of 2018. The last 2 players both debuted at CWL Birmingham in April of 2018, and that's Dylan and Cammy. Dylan finished top 48, teaming with Jambo, Louie, and Trotty. Cammy finished top 32, teaming with Kreza, Endura, and Sam. And both of those players are 21 now, fantastic players who made their debuts in Birmingham back in World War II. Now, into BO4, where probably the most players made their debut who are currently playing today. So many guys who finally aged up and were able to play in BO4 that are absolutely dominating the Call of Duty League now. First off is ILLeY. making his debut at UGC Niagara, finishing top 3. Even though it wasn't a CWL event, there were a lot of really good teams at that event, which is where ILLeY was kind of first seen in a LAN environment. Then heading into CWL Vegas, a handful of players made their debuts as well. First off is Cleanex. Not a good finish for him, finishing top 112 at the event. That was where he first appeared at a LAN. Next up is Luca, currently 20 years old. He made his debut with Mindfreak at the event, teaming with Buzzo, Shox, Fida, and Excite. Then finishing top 32, Vivid found himself first making his debut at CWL Vegas as well, with a solid T32 performance. And then on FaZe Black, one of the most interesting teams at this opening CWL Vegas event, Simp made his LAN debut with Phantoms, Gravity, Mosh, and Tish. So 1 month later in the CWL Pro League qualifiers, Cellium first made his LAN debut with Zuma, Attach, Crowder, and Priestahh, finishing a disappointing top 16 for them. Not an ideal debut for Cellium, but definitely his debut nonetheless. And 2 months later, a very well-known first appearance here, Simp at CWL Fort Worth. With FaZe Black shows up and absolutely dominates. Cellium, Gravity, Phantoms, and the Sim dominate the open bracket, finish first at the event in Simp's first LAN appearance. Then in June, 2 more players make their debuts. Awakening makes his first debut at CWL Anaheim, finishing top 48 with D-Lo, Landon, Reaper, and Passion. And Exceed makes his debut as well, finishing 4th with Spacely, Proto, Assault, and Fellow at the CWL Anaheim Open. So the last player to actually make his debut in BO4 is none other than Shotzzy. Shotzzy finishing top 48 though, but teaming with Pharaoh, Spart, Pacer, and Manning at the CWL Amateur Finals, first shows up in the COD scene from Halo, creating the hype and giving people a chance to see how he plays heading into the offseason into Modern Warfare. And of course, the final 2 players to make their debut in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, both were at the CDL launch weekend, but the first was Draza, finishing top 8 with D-Lo, Kaiser, Optimum, and Performal all at the event. A really solid performance in his first event, but another player would outdo him in his first LAN appearance. That's Mac, playing with Hybrid Black, finishing 2nd at the event with Hollow, Cells, Charles, and Stamino. A fantastic first appearance for Mac, and that momentum from those events would eventually land Mac and Draza spots. And I think overall, looking back at the list, it's crazy how many of these guys made debuts in some of these years. Like a surprising amount made their debuts in Ghosts, and some guys go back so much farther than when you think they may have come into the league. And so I thought it was really interesting to kind of put them on a timeline here and show you guys how and when these guys made their debuts, and a snapshot into how long it takes some of these guys to really take off in their careers and find success, while others somehow find it very quickly at the end of the day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this look at how these guys made their debuts. If you guys did, like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you guys think it's really interesting or enjoyed it, and of course hit that notification bell. YouTube's a little weird with how people are notified of videos, so make sure to hit that bell so you don't miss an upload. But as always guys, I'm your boy EVERY, and we will see you next time. I'm out.